So let's talk about what this Vegas F1 weekend really means, not just for motorsports, but for the whole Nicolandria storyline and for the way we watch couples from Love Island, USA after the cameras stop rolling. Here's the thing, F1 isn't just about cars. People who don't watch it think it's just fast circles. But Vegas is more like a moving fashion show with engines. You've got celebrities, influencers, models, musicians, athletes, all standing trackside pretending they understand tire strategy while secretly just there for the vibes and the photos. And now into that world, you drop Nic and Olandria. Two people we watched meet on a dating show, stumble through challenges, deal with Ace, Taylor, Sierra, the whole Love Island Season 7 roller coaster, and suddenly they're getting invited to one of the biggest, flashiest weekends of the year.
For a lot of fans, that's when it hits. This isn't just post-show content anymore. This is Nic and Olandria stepping onto a different kind of stage. One week, we're watching them argue over challenges and recouplings, and the next, we're seeing them at events where brands like energy drinks, fashion labels, and lifestyle companies are all circling the same few faces. Vegas is loud, bright, and over the top. It's the perfect backdrop for a couple that already feels bigger than the show they came from. Inside the villa, everything is controlled. The music, the dates, the challenges, the editing. You only see Nic and Olandria through the lens of Love Island USA Season 7. You see the triangle with other islanders, Ace lurking in the background, Taylor and Sierra getting dragged into fan debates, and Huda's name flying around the timeline.
But outside the villa, that's where Nicolandria really became Nicolandria. No producers, no recoupling texts, no confessionals. Just two people trying to figure out if this thing works in the real world. What made them different wasn't just the chemistry. It was the way Nic leaned into supporting Olandria, the way he didn't mind being the guy holding the camera, hyping her looks, and clapping for her wins. In a world where a lot of reality TV couples crumble as soon as the cameras turn off, these two somehow kept building. That's why seeing them at events like an F1 weekend feels so wild. It's like watching a fan edit come to life. One minute they're on a fire pit in Fiji, the next minute they're walking along a Vegas track lined with supercars and superstar guests. And the funniest part, for a lot of people, it doesn't feel surprising at all. It feels like, yeah, this is exactly the kind of stage Nicolandria was built for. But you cannot talk about this Vegas storyline without mentioning one man, Bigger Belgian. Nic's dad has quietly become one of the most iconic side characters in the whole Nicolandria expanded universe. The running joke in the fandom is that he only leaves the house when Olandria is involved. Nic could have a hosting gig in the next town over, and his dad's like, "That's cute. Is O gonna be there?" If the answer's no, he's chilling at home. If the answer's yes, he's ironing his shirt. It's that protective but amused parent energy that makes everything more fun. He's basically the older, wiser version of every fan who said, "Look, I didn't sign up for this show, but I accidentally caught feelings for this couple, and now I'm invested." What makes Bigger Bellion so relatable is that he reacts like we do. He sees Olandria, and you can tell he gets it. He understands why Nic is putting in effort. He looks at her like, "Yeah, okay, son, this makes sense." And when you combine that with an F1 weekend trip, the mental image is hilarious. Nic calling home like, "I'm going to Vegas for F1, wanna come?" And his dad asking only one thing, "Is Olandria gonna be there?" If yes, he's already at the airport. If no, he's like, "Enjoy, champ." It's almost like the fandom has split into two categories. The online Nicolandria nation, making edits and threads, and Bigger Belgian, quietly being all of us in dad form. Now let's talk about the part that sends the fandom into full detective mode, brands. We've seen Nic connected with energy drinks before. We've seen Olandria tagged by big names in fashion and beauty. So when news hits that they're heading to Vegas for F1, fans don't just say, "Oh cool, a trip." They say, "Okay, who's flying them out? Who's sponsoring this? What does this mean?" You've got people guessing Celsius. You've got people looking at Red Bull comments under Olandria's posts. You've got some people randomly screaming Alexander Wang because if there's a high-end fashion moment, somebody is going to yell runway. And honestly, that's half the fun.
The idea that Nic could be out there with one energy drink brand and Olandria could be connected to another is hilarious in the best way. Imagine them walking the paddock like a soft launch commercial battle, one holding a can from one brand, the other getting tagged by the competition, dueling sponsorships as a love language. But it also shows how far they've come. We went from who is Nic going to pick in this recoupling to which global brand is going to lock in Nicolandria first. The fandom scrolling comments, checking who liked what, zooming in on logos in the background of photos, that's not just obsession, that's storytelling. Everyone wants to feel like they spotted the clue before the official announcement. Quick pit stop. If you're still here, you're officially in deep with this storyline. Hit that subscribe button before your screen time report exposes how many hours you spend thinking about Nic and Olandria. All right, back to the chaos.
While all of this is happening in Vegas, something else is happening across the ocean. Love Island USA Season 7 is finally dropping in the UK. That means a whole new wave of viewers is just now discovering Nic, Olandria, Ace, Taylor, Cierra, Huda, and the entire season for the first time. They're reacting in real time to moments we've already argued about, cried over, and made 10,000 edits of. You've got UK creators live streaming episodes, pausing to scream at the screen, asking, "Wait, is Nic serious right now? Or who is this Olandria girl, and why does she feel like the main character?" And for those of us who already know how this ends, it's surreal. It's like watching people read a book when you've already seen the movie, the deleted scenes, and the director's commentary. You want to jump in the chat and say, "Trust me, you're not ready for where this goes." That couple right there, that's about to be your entire personality for the next 6 months. What makes it even stranger is that by the time UK viewers are meeting Villa Nic, we're already watching F1 Vegas Nic on our timelines. The timeline is doubled. They're still in the challenge phase. We're in the brand deals and paddock passes era. If you've gone back and watched the early episodes, you know how jarring it can be to see Nic before everything clicked. Back then, he was clearly there for a good time. Summer energy, flirty, light, not really thinking long-term. And that's normal. He was in his early 20s on a dating show. Nobody expects him to show up like a 40-year-old marriage counselor. Then there's Bella. Whatever anyone thinks of her, one thing is obvious. She carried herself with a lot of emotional maturity. She wasn't kissing people just for the optics. She wasn't forcing moments just for the camera. She tried to play along enough to stay in the game, but you could tell she had boundaries and self-respect. When Nic eventually ended things, the way she handled it is still one of those moments that sticks with you. She didn't beg. She didn't fall apart for the cameras. She basically said, "It's your loss. I know what's meant for me will not pass me by." That's strength. If Love Island were truly a show about picking a life partner on the spot, Bella would absolutely have been a safe choice. She had that grounded, steady energy. She felt like someone who'd already done a lot of emotional homework before walking into the villa. But here's the twist. Life doesn't always reward the safe choice. Sometimes it rewards growth. Because what we saw later, outside the villa, was Nic slowly transforming from America's boy to Olandria's man. You watch the timeline and you see the shift. Less random flirting, more intentional support, more consistency, a different level of respect when he talks about her and to her. And that's why people can respect Bella and still believe Nicolandria was always going to be the end game. Bella was right for who he was then. Olandria is right for who he decided to become. At a certain point, something weird happens. Nicolandria stops feeling like a Love Island couple and starts feeling like its own franchise. You watch clips from the villa now and it almost feels like fan fiction. Like, wow, remember when they were just two people on loungers trying to figure out who was into who? They look younger somehow, not just in age, but in energy. They have no idea what's coming. Then you think about everything that's happened since. Events, hostings, trips, moments like Greek Fest that became mini movies in the fandom's mind, inside jokes, lives, interviews, podcasts. The way Nic openly chooses to cheer for Olandria and never seems embarrassed to be the guy holding her heels or hyping her outfits. And now, F1 Vegas gets added to that timeline.
That's why, for some fans, it's actually hard to reassociate them with Love Island USA at all. The show feels like season 1 of their story. Everything now feels like season 3 or 4. Same cast, much bigger budget. What makes it special is that all of this growth happened under a microscope. Usually, when people develop this kind of connection, it's private. For Nic and Olandria, every step, from villa flirts to real-world commitment, happened with millions of eyes, watching, judging, and projecting. And yet, here they are, still rolling, still showing up, still giving you moments like Nicolandria at F1. At some point, you stop asking, will they last, and start asking, what's the next level of this universe? So what does a single F1 weekend in Vegas really mean for them? On the surface, it's a fun trip. Luxury hotel, crazy crowds, fast cars, bright lights, maybe some leather outfits if Olandria decides to go full motorsport chic. It's a weekend of celebrities, cameras, and content. But underneath, it's bigger. It means brands see them as valuable enough to invite. Events know that having Nicolandria on the guest list means bringing a dedicated online fandom with them. The story that started as just another dating show couple is now living in spaces usually reserved for actors, artists, and long-term influencers. Meanwhile, UK viewers are just now pressing play on episode 1, completely unaware that the couple they're meeting on a sunny villa day is on track, literally, to show up at events like this. That's the magic of this moment. F1 is about speed, but Nicolandria's story is about timing. They met at the right moment, grew under the pressure, and now they're stepping into bigger rooms together. And who knows what's next? Fashion weeks, more global events, bigger collabs, maybe even their own projects. Maybe one day we'll look back and say, remember when we thought Vegas F1 was a big deal? We had no idea what was coming. Until then, we're going to enjoy being on this ride with them. One brand deal, one chaotic live, and one iconic weekend at a time. Before you go, if you made it all the way here, you're officially part of the Nicolandria Nation Hall of Fame. Hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with your wildest prediction for Nic and Olandria's next move, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully with even more crumbs to overanalyze.